Welcome to the first part in my new series for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. Now, I have created a separate introduction video for this series, but for anyone who's skipped over that, I will do a very brief introduction to this series and what its objectives are going to be. The objective of this series is to build a self-sufficient society that uses all the different transport options in the game, up to and including aircraft. Now, a secondary objective of this series is to explore various mechanics. We're certainly going to be taking a pretty deep dive into tourism. I also want to test out a number of ideas on how to set up efficient distribution systems, and more importantly, what I want to do is come up with a way of making the economy self-sufficient in crops, and I think this is going to be one of the big factors in the game. I think that's enough of an introduction. What I'm going to do now is just take a quick look at the map. This is a custom map that I've created for the series. It's called the Great Divide. It will be available in the workshop, and of course the big feature of this map is the central mountain range that runs from the coast on the right hand side right across the map, and effectively it cuts the map into two halves. But what you will see is that down the center is a navigable river, and what that does is connect the top left with the bottom right. This is all part of the objectives of this series, because this river will be very important in pulling together all the various components, especially when I show you the resources, which I think we'll do now. You can see here is all the coal is either in the lower part of the map or on the central divide. The iron ore is in a similar situation. Now, I know some of you will look at that and say, oh, he's put lots of coal and iron in the center of the map. Well, I can assure you that these places aren't as accessible as they may first appear. And of course, up in the top half of the map, we've got the oil. And then what I've done is I put the uranium on the left-hand side of the map in a single location. But you can see it's a very dense location. So there should be more than enough uranium there to be able to fuel at least two nuclear reactors, because one of the things I would really like to build in this series is the twin reactor option, because I've never yet ever built that. And of course the final resource is the new resource, which is bauxite. What I've done is put two deposits on the map simply because I would like to use one to produce aluminium and the other one to produce the aluminium that will actually create aircraft. Now, which one I'm going to use is I have absolutely no idea at the moment, but we'll see how that goes. Now, I'll be completely upfront. I've done a little bit of selective play testing on this map, but I haven't really worked out an overall strategy for individual towns. So this is going to become a matter of developing the economy in a way that, well, makes it efficient. That's probably the right way of saying it. Now, this leads me on to an overall strategy for this series, and this is going to vary from previous series. In fact, this is going to be something completely new for me, and it's based on a comment that was actually placed a few days ago, which made me think about how I can grow the economy quicker than the traditional approach. Now, the normal approach that I see most players take, and I must admit I've used, is you start in one location and then you spread out with roads and rail links like an octopus spreading off across the map. Now, what I want to do in this series is we're going to start in the bottom right here and build up a starter town here. Once this economy gets strong enough to be able to provide a reasonable income, what we're going to do then is move over to this second connection here, which is where the coal and iron is, and we're going to build a new town here. And then once this town's up and running, we're then going to move up and build a town up here where the oil is. And then eventually, once all these are working, we'll start to build our main production town up here. And then the idea is that each of these will grow out in their own way and connect up. And of course, it doesn't take much imagination to work out that we're going to connect these two first. And then what I'm hoping is that if I get a shipping industry going here, this town can build its own dock. And then what we can have is the ability to move goods along this navigable river without having to build a road or rail connection to get up here to build the dock. And it also applies up here that when we want to develop this area, what we'll do is build a dock here, and then we can trade down this coastline here until such time as we've got a rail link through the center. I think that's enough of an introduction, so we better get down and actually start doing some work. Now, one thing I want to do straight away is get into a good naming convention. I think the key to this is actually placing your area names before you start building anything. So what we're going to do is come in here. In fact, one thing I do need to do is switch off the auto build. In fact, yeah, just hopefully I want to check. Yeah, so because I don't want the residents to be added as we go through, and hopefully that will work. And what we're going to do now is, so come in here. I'm not too sure of the areas here, so we're going to have to kind of try and work this out. What I'm going to do is put you down there. Now what I'm going to do is, you can see here we've got a nice area here which actually spreads slightly over into that, but I think that'll be okay. Now, apologies for anyone who wants absolute realism, but the names I'm going to be using, and certainly not in capitals, are names that I'm familiar with and can give me a context on the map. So I'm actually going to call this area Gosport. Now, if anyone lives in the south of England will probably recognise that name, especially if you watch the intro and I talk about this being an island that represents Portsmouth. That's exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to call this area Portsmouth. Now, I've got this name tag here, which is left over from the map, making the map, and I can't get rid of it. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this down more in this area here. I'm going to call you Portsmouth. So just get rid of you. Portsmouth, not moth, mouth. We call you Portsmouth. You can see here that this covers this area here. Of course, we got an overlap from this area here, which there's nothing I can do about. And eventually, what we'll probably have down here is Southsea. Just to keep everything in context, what we're going to do is call you Gosport. What can we call you? Gosport Customs. So you're now in that area there. So I'm hoping that by naming these in advance, what I'll be able to do is get meaningful names for the buildings that I'm actually going to create without too much effort, because the names will be inserted as I build the buildings. I mean, there might be a problem up here with respect to once we get to the edge of Gosport, but this will become Gosport North. And I've been looking at this area about how I want to place things. So what I'm looking at is to have a road coming here, because we're going to have to put bridges across here. And what I'm thinking is to have a construction sources area here. So we're going to have our asphalt, concrete, cement plant, prefabs, etc. Possibly even some forestry to get some boards going in this area. So I want the main town down about here, possibly with the tourism down in the bottom area here. Because the thing about tourists is we can bring them in by bus, they can have their fun down here, and then we don't have to worry too much about getting them out again. But first things first, what we're going to need to do is just come in here and see if we can get off the edge of the map as quickly as possible. And what I'd like to do is start, and of course we're going to use mud roads. And apologies in advance if I start calling them gravel roads. It's something that I can actually fall into a habit of doing. I think what we're going to do is just bring this road out here. I'm going to make this slightly wider like that, so we've got a two-way road going out that way. And what we're going to do is probably bring one of these roads over to the bridging locations. I think let's just choose where are we going to bridge. So I've got some targets for this area. I think we'll go for, I don't really want wooden bridges, they're only 30 kilometers an hour. That's 100 kilometers. Anything that's, I think the top speed of all bridges is 100 kilometers an hour. So you might, so I think if we go for steel and brick, actually, do they have a prefab version? I think a prefab version might be cheaper actually. And it probably looks better as well. It looks more modern. And what we're going to have is a bridge across here. Possibly a bridge across. Come back here. Maybe we'll go a bridge across here. Well, that's the two bridges. And there's possibility later on we may have a bridge down here. We'll certainly have a railway bridge down here. So that's going to give me the two targets for where these roads are going to go. Now, the next thing I need to think about is railways. And I have an idea what I want the railways to do, because as I mentioned, the strategy is going to be to get up here. So I want one rail line to come up through here, And of course what I want is another rail line that's going to come down through there, but we got 3 tracks, and I'm aware that this might get a bit overloaded, so what we're going to do is we come out like that and possibly come across like that, and then this can maybe come out through like that. Just, I mean, I've got no idea how I'm going to get the tracks up there, but we'll worry about that later on. What I'm going to do is just wait. And what we'll do is just merge you in there, and I think the other 2 tracks will take off this way. Oops. What I'm going to do is like out like that with that. Go that way. Wait, thank you. And what we're going to have to do is come across like that. Ah, now we're going to need to be able to do some leveling. So we've got this here. I don't really want to build anything in this corner. And I could put the vehicle depot here. I was half thinking about distribution offices, but then we could put some distribution offices here. I think we will put the road depot. Again, I don't want to squish it too much into this corner, so I think we'll maybe just put it, say, about here. Because I've got to remember how to bring the power lines in as well. I'm going to put that there. And of course, this is going to be the first building we're going to build. We're going to, but all the initial buildings we're going to build with dollars. So we're going to fund this with dollars, just let the game run. I mean, truthfully, this is the one building we have to create first off, because once I've done that, I can then come in here. Oops, I don't want that. Ha, it's dollars. You have to get a couple of bulldozers and a couple of excavators. And of course, what will happen is eventually these bulldozers and these excavators will move to the construction yard. And the other thing I want to do is here, build another mud road across like that. And then back to the railways. Try and run the railway through here. Hopefully this will. And I think what we're going to, what I'm looking to is crossing over there. So I think we'll push this in here. We're going to run the railway through here. Now we're not going to build this railway for a very long time, but what I want to do is just get it in place as a marker. I don't think I'm going to bother too much about the bridges, because I mean that pretty obviously points to this bit of headland here. So we've now got the rail connections. One thing I do need to put in is, I forget all about it, whereas later in the game we will run into a problem with it. So what I'm going to do is just put in crossovers and accept. So that will mean that we got a rail connection into there and a potential rail connection up to there. Now, I think before we go any further that way, I just need to work on an area here. What I'm going to do is push a mud road through there. And what I want to build here is a distribution center which will sort of try and reduce the traffic in here. This is based on a picture somebody sent me a long time ago. Apologies, I can't remember the name. And I've been thinking about how I can best do this. And I think I might have my interpretation of it. And what I'm going to do is just push this out here. I mean, I could be, I think we come to say about here. And then come here, I want to open store. And what I'm going to do is push this out a little bit, but I don't want it out too far. But I want it something like that. What we need is a meat store from... I'm going to put this in... No, actually, let me just extend this road out. That I've got a baseline where the road will be. Put this cement, so I don't want a cement side, I don't want a meat store. Now I've got to get this far enough forward so that the road from the open store will be able to come down and do the connection. We can just put this here. That might be a little bit too low, but we'll soon find out. Actually, no, that's working quite well. And I want to twist this a little bit, because above the open store I want to put a warehouse. Do that. Then we're... As you might have guessed, I have rehearsed this a little bit, but not actually on this map. I did some testing with the placements. I can't... That should do... Hopefully this will... So we've now got my area, and the idea is that, well, the trucks will be able to deliver it into this area, and this one will take out goods. So what you get is a two-way flow here, with the trucks picking up goods from here for export if they're there, but that will be later on. Because of course initially we're going to be importing the bricks, but once we're producing bricks and prefabs, then the flow will go the opposite way round. Well, that's the idea anyway, and we got the meat connection there. Pick the mud road up again. I need to make sure this will work. We'll come down into here, and we'll just hook that through to there. I'm half wondering whether I can get a gas station in here. We could get a gas station. I want a gas station in this position though. I think I might need a bird to have a... I don't know. Yeah, I think we could put a gas station in the corner here. I'm just going to tilt that round a little bit. And of course, what we're going to be building is the open store here. It says here, of course, you can see here it says Gosport Custom Open Storage Small. So by pre-naming the area, what we're getting is the names here. And of course we have the Gosport Custom gas station there. So we've now got a storage area here. Trim you back a bit. And then, though I'm not too sure. Oh, come on. You can do it, game. Then we're going to run that road through there. And then we're going to push up road through like that, and across the top of here got another right there. Now we're going to have our town over here, and what I don't want to do is duplicate the mistake I made in the previous series with the heating. So what we're going to do is put in heating area here, but first actually what I want to do is a small aggregate here, and what I'm going to do is just place a small aggregate in this area here like that, and then small or large. Now the thing I need to consider is that we're going to need to get the heating up and running by the autumn of this year. If I go for a large heating plant, this might need too many resources. Yeah, I need to keep my costs down, so I think we'll go with a small heating plant here. We'll just drag this back a little bit, and we'll drop that in maybe over a little bit like that. I need to drop back far enough from the road that will go across the top to allow me the pipework to come out. And of course, because we're going to need to bus workers in, we might as well put a bus stop in here. So we'll maybe like something like that. Then we'll put a mud road out that way, and we'll have the mud road connect there, and we'll connect the mud road there. Apologies for any of you who don't like the grid markings. I just find it a lot easier when I'm laying out things like this to be able to see a grid, because it just ensures that we get the good angles on the roads here. Now the next thing I want to do is, we've got a little bit of space here, and what I want to do now is come into here. I'm going to put a medium distribution center. Can do it here is come in here. I'm going to put a gravel road in here because some of these we're actually going to gravel before we build them. So we'll put a gravel road in there. And what was I doing? Oh yeah. And we'll put a medium distribution in here like this. What I'm going to do is use gravel. Actually, this could be gravel as well. And it's a tiny little smidge of a road there, but now I don't want to connect this up, because what would like to do is gravel this through first, but I'm not going to set that because I don't know how the traffic's going to flow through here. Let's just trim you back. So I'm just trying to keep the number of nodes down as low as possible. If I connect you through there. Oh, we've got the gas station there. And what we're going to need to do is able to distribute goods out this way. So what we're going to do is put another medium distribution office. Actually, if we put it there, opposite the where we come out of there, we put you here. What we can do is that puts this junction there. Okay, just going to put you in there. So that gives me the distribution office here, because we will be building these distribution offices. Of course, the next big thing we need is a construction office. Now, I did consider the cost of putting in a big one. I think we're going to start with a standard construction office here, because technically once a lot of this is built, we'll be pushing out and putting in another construction office somewhere else. So I think we can go with a normal standard construction office here, because one of the big factors is also going to be the available resources, because we're not going to be able to indulge in massive building projects whether we like it or not. So we've now got this initial area here. Now I need to think about the town and how this road's going to divide these two areas here. And part of me says that these have to come off straight from these junctions here. Can we kind of angle these slightly? So if I trim these back again, like that. And again, let's go with the mud roads. Say we have something like that. And then if I take this road here, that could quite literally just run straight through this one here. And now we've got a gravel quarry over here. We've got this road bridge here. And I want this to be a useful area. What we're going to do is just come in here, and then I think we'll curve you out a little bit like that, and then I mean, this is grand scale planning now. If I put the gravel quarry in here, there's a really ideal location here, tucked in this area here. Build that, and then we'll you into like that, and then you. There is an option to send the road up through here. We say we connect this So to here. What we can do is, say for argument's sake, we're going to send the road up here. I don't know whether that will come into here. This is going to be a bit shaky up through here, isn't it? And then, I mean, we've got a couple more patches for gravel here. So we've got a road junction here. So we've got a road comes out here, joins up here. That gives us a space in here. And we've got our town starting from this area here. And our heating plant is there. I think that will work. If I say now what I need to do is calculate how far away this heating plant is from the center of the town. So if we take this out, now what I need is at least 300 meters. So actually let's use my standard measuring tool. That's 269 from, so you can say this is actually another way I can measure as well, isn't it? Now got with the new update we can actually see distance, can't we? So that's, you can say that that tree there is 473 meters away from there. So say for argument's sake I put a road through here and that comes up. Don't want this, cancel. We're gonna have to do this with mud roads. So for argument's sake I can come up here and then connect you to there like that. And if I draw a road from there, that's 513 from that center there. So if we come down here like that, and then say for argument's sake I come over, don't want that. It's not connected. Okay. Oh, we can soon fix that. We can connect you up. Don't want that. Cancel. Back to mud roads again. We've got this road here. And say for argument's sake this comes out like that. Comes there. Kind of gives me a three-way town centre here. What I could do is angle this over a little bit further. Now I think we can leave it that way. And what we could do is, oops, no, something like that. Though I think I'd rather have that junction there. Actually, if I, now we're gonna have to bus people up into this area. We're gonna bus people over to there. If I actually put the town centre crossroads, because I must admit I do like my town centre crossroads here. We can probably bring, this is quite a rough edge, so if we come up, say like that, and probably not going to be able to build on that, but yeah, so, well, we can always change that later on. So I think I can turn the wireframe off a bit now. We've now got our centre, which is close to there. So what we need to do now is build in a town centre here. Probably bring the heating pipes over to about here. And so we got our distribution centre there with that road through to there. So what we're going to do is go with a small shopping centre here. I mean, these separate stores are good, but at the same time is when you're building on a very tight budget like this, you're actually better off doing something like this. In fact, we'll just get this into here like that. And that's the town here. Whoops, don't want that. Now, I did saw someone post a comment about saying about having big warehouses attached to stores don't look realistic, and I actually agree with that. But what I do want here is a small storage vault. So we've got a small barn here which can hold 45 food, but more importantly, it can hold other items. Now, one thing you need to be aware of is that when you're looking at these amount you can store, they tend to refer to the maximum amount that you can store, right? Not you can store something of each of these. This is something you've got to be aware of. Let's have a look. That's 4.9 tons. That's 4. These are virtually the same. What I want to do is just put in a small warehouse like this here. Try and keep the actual factory connection short because I'm going to have to pay for it. I'm just going to put that in there. So we've got this in here, we've got that there. We're going to need a bus station here as well. Question is, a big one or small one? Oops, road. Which is 14 tons, that's 5 tons. This is half the size, so and of course it'd be half the cost, because of course I'm going to have to build the bus platform to get our workers in. Actually, I think what we'll do is we'll hook up with that to reduce the number of junctions. Let's get you here. We've now got a bus platform, a shop. Right, so we got these in here. Just to get an idea of what I need to pre-build, we're going to fund a small aggregate store with dollars. We need the construction, this construction with dollars, because that's our open store. We need a gas station, otherwise we won't get very far with our trucks. We need the shop, so we'll just build that. I'm going to build the barn for a reason which I'll explain once it's finished. I think we will do the factory connection. It's only $2,000 and of course we need the bus platform. What we can do is just unpause and let these build. I just want to make sure you haven't got it. You haven't got the auto purchase. I don't know why shops always seem to start with the auto purchase on, but for some reason what we'll do is we'll just do that. That would get rid of that. We got a little bit of food and clothes in, but there's nothing I could do about that. What I'm going to do is make this into gravel. So this will be our initial gravel store. And I haven't got a road connection for it. I better do that there. You can come in there. So what I'm going to be doing is using this for gravel until we build the heating plant. In fact, we'll be using this for gravel until I've got my general construction area going up here. Then what we'll do is once this is built and we've got our gravel production coming from over here, what I will do then is empty this out and turn it back to coal. And of course, yeah, I don't think it will let me empty this. No. It's one of the quirks that if you haven't got a power supply, you can't actually turn off the auto purchase. We've got 14 tons of fuel in there, which is, in some ways, it's not quite so bad because it pays to prime the gas station, because the last thing you want is your trucks actually running out. I just need to be able to fix that. Of course, what we're going to do here is we're going to limit the space. And at the moment, we've got 47 tons of boards, bricks. I mean, it's all a little bit too much. I'm just going to take out the aluminium and the wood. We don't need wood like that. And then, but this is all a little bit too much for what I want to build. We don't need 59 tons of prefabs. We're not going to use that many prefabs and bricks. And the same goes with boards. We're not going to have 83 tons of boards. 17 tons. We don't really. I think what we'll do is we'll just pump this up, reduce this steel down to 48 tons. 10 tons of board, 24 tons of bricks. 24, maybe that is a little bit much for prefabs and bricks. Just take you down to there. No, we can't go any lower than 16 tons. And 53 tons of steel, we'll take that down to 36. And that gets that area operating. Of course, down in our little storehouse here, okay, we can limit production. You can see straight away, the moment you limit production, everything drops. We're not going to purchase electronics. We certainly don't want plastics, sorry. But we do need clothes and food. We don't need alcohol. We're just going to drop that down. We don't need fabric. We don't need chemicals. Because what that means is I'm going to have 9 tons of mechanical components, 6 tons of electrical components, 9 tons of clothes, but we'll be importing the clothes, and we don't need crops. I can use the crops to balance things a little bit. If I just pump that up a little bit more. And so what we'll be doing is once we've got our construction office built, I didn't do the construction office, did I? Well, we can do that in the next cycle. So what we'll be doing is drawing the mechanical components and the electro components from here until we've actually built this warehouse here. So we got 423,146. I think we got this built here, and what I need to do now is get in some. We need a school, we need a kindergarten, and we also need something else, and I can't remember what it is at the moment. Now, the way I feel with the school, if we put the school, say, in about here, and then the kindergarten here, we can take the housing out this way to start with, but we need to keep it in range of the shop. Yeah, I think that will work. Actually, we could probably put the school one side and the kindergarten the other side. Actually, let's just put some housing in. Residential. Now, I am going to use modded residential blocks. Anyone who doesn't understand why, I'm just going to show you here. What annoys me with most of the default ones is they have all these little roads. It just, I don't know, I just don't feel comfortable with the roads. I much prefer the modded versions where we've actually got dwellings. What do we want? What we could do is a couple of, oops, I don't know why it always goes back one. I'm sure one of these only had 60 workers in. What I want to start with is a couple of small blocks with 60 workers in. These are going to provide the essential workers for the shop and all that. I want to have enough space to possibly put a footpath in round them. We'll just put in, say, 3 up there, possibly 1 here. Actually, I think 3 would be enough. We can put some bigger ones on this side. So we got these here. These need to be built. What we got here, we got. I'm not going to put the footpaths in for the moment. What we can do is, I certainly want something in here from the perspective of entertainment. We can just put, you can fit in just on this corner here. Of course, we're going to build this small theatre. We won't be purchasing it. And I think this is enough space up here now. So what we could do is put in the. It'd be really nice if I could put. Actually, if I put, can we get one more block of residents in? Residential. Maybe something that's a little bit bigger. We got 165. So if I put in, say, a block of 165 here, and then we put the school, say, just on this corner here, like that. Just want to check that these guys can get into there. If we build out this way, it's going to take them closer to the areas where I want them to work. And what we'll do is we'll put the kindergarten on the corner here, like that. Now we got a little slot here, so let's go back to the heating. I think we'll go for a small heat exchanger. If I put it on this side, that means the pipeline will be on the right side. If I put it in fairly close like that, so we'll put it next to this, the actual kindergarten, like that. And what we can do is take out, oops, I actually build a bit of pipe there. Can't see. I don't want that small heating pipe. I have a feeling that there is a small bit of heating pipe in here. Yep. Just can't see it. That's it. Sometimes the bulldozer's the better option. More heating pipe. Just drag you here. Keep the height, so that if necessary we can put a path underneath it. I think for the purposes of this road here, we can just run down and just come here, connect to there. So we got the heating in. We need to think about power. We've got a school, we've got a theatre. We really need to plan the location for a clinic. Actually, let's just put in a few bit more residents. We'll go for 165s along here, like this. Now we're not going to build all these from the get-go. This is more slightly planning for expansion. Actually, what I could do is we've got a bit of a road here. So if I take the road out there, take you. I think maybe we come like. That's messy. I want that. Just put you there, run you across the back, and you can come in here. That gives another entrance to the bus station. Right, I'm going to split this up, but just put you in there. And probably while we're working on it, we'll put a footpath up the back here, past the school. Out here, curve you round, bring you in there. You can hook up there. You too close. Never mind. I'm not going to rebuild everything. We got that there. Put path there. And what we'll do is you there to there. It's a bit close, but we're going to be okay. You through there. And you to there. And you to there. So we've got our small little town here. We're going to need to put some sport in. And we also... Oh yeah, what I was doing... Oh yeah, medical clinic. Medical clinic. Or hospital. And what I'm going to do is put... I'll put a small clinic just behind here for the moment. This will be our first contact. We can probably, can I get it in there? I think maybe we'll take advantage of the road here and just put it there. We've got a clinic in there. That's up to do with the heating. We've got our heating in here. We need to think about power. I think before we do the power, what I need to do is put in the area up here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a quick run through my checklist. I've got a checklist of all the buildings I need to build. So let me just see what I've built so far. Built a vehicle depot, a gas station. We haven't done the power supply yet. We've got a construction, small aggregate, shop, kindergarten, school. We haven't built a fire station yet, and we need concrete. We've got the warehouse, so we need power supply, fire station, concrete and asphalt. Yeah, I've forgotten all about the fire station, and that is pretty fundamental to the overall welfare of my thing. Of course, it's in here. Of course, this is, I think what we could do is put the fire station here, because I want the fire station to cover the production areas up here from the get-go. So we're going to put the fire station, we can get it as close as we can get there. Okay, I'm just going to build a mud footpath. Remember, I've got to say mud, not gravel. It's really strange to be back. Actually, if I put the footpath that way, we go that way, and we can come around here, connect up that, and what that should be means that this should be in range. So what we're going to have to do is probably build in these 4 here to start with, or 3, depending, and then expand outwards as we go. So we got the fire station built, and what we need to do is now work on the concrete and asphalt. It's going to be up here. Now again, a big thank you to the person who posted a screenshot of their production area. Apologies, I can't remember your name. And what they did is they actually posted a vision of a complete construction production area, which was concrete, was asphalt, concrete, and cement, and pavers. And I think we're going to have a go at that. Now, I'm aware that this might take a little while, so if things start to go wrong, I will cut out some of the bits, the more embarrassing bits is probably the polite way of saying it. What I'm going to do is put in a small concrete plot, and we've got gravel over there. And if we put in say a small concrete plant here, like that, and it's dropping down a little bit. I'm always a bit worried when buildings do that. Just push this out a little bit like that, and just put a road in there. So we've got the concrete plant in. Now what I'm going to have to do is a little bit of a fudge here from a storage perspective, because with the most recent update they changed it to these new conveyors, but when you're using mods, most of the mods haven't been updated to use the new conveyors. And the in-game concrete silo, if I can find it, I think it's in storage. If I show it to you, the updated version of the cement silo now only has 1 factory connection. So what I'm going to have to do is use this one here. This is a kind of a multi-type version of the cement silo, and what we're going to need to do is kind of push this out a little bit like that, and maybe get it in a little bit, maybe a little bit more, something like that. Just make sure the road fits. Yep. Of course, this will be a gravel road, and probably could even be an asphalt road by the time we get around to building it. Now this is where the fun starts, because what I've got to do is put in a concrete plant and a prefab plant. And the way I've actually done it is we put the concrete plant in first, if I remember correctly. And what we're going to do is put the concrete plant in on the, actually no, I need the, so we roughly need the concrete plant in that position there. And so what I've got to do, if we come back to here, if I find the, I need to go to factories. What I want to do is put in this small panel factory. What I want to do is stretch this factory connection as far as I can make it. In fact, if I come this way, actually no, probably need to go up like that a little bit. And hopefully that connection won't break. Yes. Then what we're going to do is so come back to here, go on the concrete plant. As the infrastructure's in the way. It's going to delete you. Just tap so we can get rid of it. And I suppose what I'm going to have to do is put a concrete one in. Don't want that. Put the concrete plant in first. Like this. Tilt it very slightly that way. And then we'll have to go back to the what we call it, the small panel factory. I think what we'll probably have to do is put it on this top connection a bit, and I want to stretch it out. I'm not sure if that will, it might work. Well, we're going to find out. So what we got now is we got the concrete plant, a silo, the concrete plant, sorry. We've got the cement plant here, the silo, concrete plant here, and we got this here. And of course what we're going to have to do is put on the end of here a small open store. Right, just put it that way round. Tilt it back this way a little bit. And that's where our prefabs are going to go. And what I need to do now is here, conveyor, and this is where the fun starts. Is what I need to do is just zoom in a bit closer. What I'm going to do is get that connected like that. Now the reason I've used a modded conveyor is that if I show you here with the footpaths, the advantage with using the modded ones is you can bring the footpaths out underneath the actual conveyor belts, where if you had a road you'd have a real problem doing it in this area here. So we've now got this area here, and what I want to do now is we're just going to come here and we're going to get a large aggregate store. I'm going to push this up like this, possibly with a little bit more of an angle. And like that. Hopefully this will connect. I want to leave that, actually maybe we'll tilt it a little bit more, because I want to keep the second connection open for one of my famous conveyor belt systems, if I can build it. Of course what we're going to do is come over here. Where's the asphalt plant? I think we just come here, and we're going to put another branch section on here and just turn you a little bit that way. So that, yeah, actually just come this way and turn you a little bit more, say like that. And what we'll do is we'll get rid of you, don't want you, can't demolish. And I want is for you, the asphalt plant, come in, say about here. And what that means we can then do is this road up here. Oops, no. Not that really makes that much difference. Thank you, save game. And what that does then is allows me to... Is that actually a... Yeah, you're a mud. So we can come down here. Actually, what I could do is... Just remembered we're going to need to put a bus stop in here. So I take out this section here. Have to put a bus stop here and connect you up to there. We're probably going to have to build this bus stop because we're going to need to get workers out to here. I would doubt very much whether the workers will be able to get to the bus stop here. We can give it a go. Let's bring you down here. Connect you through there. And we've just broken this gravel road here, but that's the way it goes. Tough luck. Right, so we've got the concrete plant in range that way, and we've got these in range here. So we're only going to need to build this one bus platform here. By bringing in this type of structure, that leaves this open for a conveyor connection here. In fact, what I wouldn't mind is we could take the conveyors off of here. Actually, just had a thought we could put a loading bay in here, but it's really in the wrong place. My instinct would be to put a loading bay over here so that when we're shipping and building up this way, we get on down this way. Can we get a loading bay in here? I mean, I could definitely get a loading bay in here. Well, we could take the conveyor off of there, can't we? So if I come into gravel here, we need a truck loading bay. Probably put that in, say, about there. And we're gonna have to bring a road round down into here, because what we need now is the ability to process the gravel. And what I'm going to do is use another mod. Now, there's no real difference between this modded version and the default one, except for the fact that it's actually got better connections. I can never find it there. Gravel processing V2. Now, the big difference between this one and the default one is the fact that this has 2 road connections, and more importantly, it actually has an input connection for a conveyor as well. So it means if you're shipping, say, over from this area here, you want it, and I want to use conveyors, we should be able to do it. But though truthfully, the distance isn't that far. What I probably would be more inclined to do is do something like this. We can put gravel processing there, and then this is turning into quite a large complex, but then well, if I tilted it this way, we can put something like that, and then what that will do is act as an input for the gravel processing. Again, we'll go for gravel. Are you kidding me? Why are you too steep? Probably because it's... Let me just turn the... There's a little bit of a... Hopefully, yeah. And we'll just bring you down to about here. Connect you up to there. You up to there. And then... What I probably would do is bring a road round here and find some way to connect it up to there. So we won't connect that up just at the moment. So we've now got a whole industrial processing area here. I'm just going to turn the wireframe off again. Now I've got to identify, what was it we need the... I think we're going to have another little bit of a phase of building what we need to do. We need to build the Gosport fire station. Fund that with dollars. What was the 4 buildings? We need the kindergarten, we got to fund with dollars. We got the school, we need to fund with dollars. I'm not going to build the housing just yet, because sometimes when you build the housing, you actually get the residents in. I don't really want them hanging around just at the moment while I'm doing this. Well, what will happen is that I won't actually build the residences and bring the economy to life until the next part. I'm certainly going to build the asphalt plant, the bus depot and concrete plant. Anything else I need to build? We're going to be building this ourselves. So here we go. We're really dropping the money down. My dollars are dropping. That means I've probably bought some more fuel. Okay, well, that's the way it goes. So we built the bus platform here. We got this bus platform here. We've got our kindergartens ready to go. Our schools ready to go. We have fire stations ready to go. And just oops, let the concrete plant and the asphalt plant build. So we've now got the concrete plant and the asphalt plant, let it pause. Of course, what we're going to need in here is some fire engines. I think we're buying 2 of each. Because fire coverage is very important when you're starting out on the high levels of difficulty. I just want to see what the... And of course, part of the problem is that you've got to come all the way down to here. So what we're going to do is... no, we'll do this with mud because probably going to need that connection. And what that should do is improve the fire coverage a bit. Yeah, we've got good fire coverage. The reason that wasn't covered was the fact that they had to go all the way down to here to get the connection, which in some ways is useful because it means it's telling me that I need to make that connection there as well. Got a little bit of a dead zone here, but we might be able to find something to put into there. So we've got this area here, we got this built up and set up. All I've got to do now is add power. And we spent nearly half of our dollars already. Now the problem with power is going to be, let me just get my measuring tool out. We're going to need 3 power centers, aren't we? We're going to need power in this area. Power to this area here, and of course we're going to need power into the town centre here. So because it's all spaced out, I'm not going to do it with one substation. And of course, but the power input is up here. What I'm going to need to do is bring the power down from here down into this area where we can put a distribution terminal in here. Again, let me just see. I've got to remember what I'm doing. It's quite surprising that when you don't start out for some time, you've got to think a little bit about what you're actually doing. Now we've got this here, and we've got the high voltage switch. Now if I build both of those, that might actually cost me quite a lot of money. So again, we're just going to go into the mods, and what I want is a power transformer, and we got this pass-through transformer, which would probably be a lot better, more useful in this scenario. I think if we put it, say, up about here. Of course, the advantage with this is, if we bring it down a little bit, I want to keep it high because we're going to probably have to run the power, high tension cables over the top here. So we're going to have to put this out and a little bit this far. I'm a little bit worried about it being too far out because there's a good chance it might burn down. That's the way my luck goes sometimes. Which is another reason why I'm trying to keep a little bit of spare cash going. I want to keep this area open, so if we run out, say, a road like this around the top, because we've got to connect up this area here. Put the road in here. We're going to come round, say, like that. You can connect up like that. Though I might take these out eventually because we're going to gravel these, so we'll break these connections, because what I would most likely want to do is gravel in as much of this as possible as we go, and then redo these connections at a time. So that actually connects up. This is the gravel processing, so that gives us contact on 2 sides. We need that. This one we can definitely get away with the road connection there, and of course we're going to have to build this as well. Now I'd say that the power in here is relatively easy because everything in here is all set up. Although I'm very tempted, because one thing I do like is the mods where the power actually goes underground. And what I wouldn't mind doing is something like that. The trouble is we wouldn't be able to get a road in here to do the connection, but what we could do is something like that. Let me just zoom out a little bit. Although, to be honest, if I'm going to do that, I might as well just run the power cables out. Let me just, I think we'll do this one area first. And we'll see where we can put a, oops. We will certainly want that there, so I think what we'll have to do is is that connected up? Wish there was a way you could turn these tags off. They're really irritating. I think we can put you in there. I think given the size of this area, we'll run you about there, and we'll run you into there. And I'll set this up to fund from dollars, because we're going to have to build these power connections to get our gravel and concrete up working. So we're just going to fund that. And just to double check, I know I'm being a bit paranoid, but so that gives us the power into that area there. Now, of course, what we're going to have is a tourist area down here. So what I need really is a series of substations here that will allow me to run. Actually, what I could do is be a little bit sneaky here. What we got here? It's probably a bit too long. That's 750. There's 300. And if I put this in this area here, wouldn't mind connecting up everything. So if we put in, say, just on the edge of that building, we put this in a little bit further like that. Say like that, with that substation. Mud road. A little bit too much in the way of mud roads here for my liking, but of course what we're going to need, come in here. This should be fairly lightweight, so what we should be able to do is just use the lesser power connection to there. Again, we're just going to fund that with dollars. We've now built that up there. We've got no power supply. The reason for that is that we have not set up the import. So we'll just let that run for a smidge, just make sure. Oh, yeah, oh, ha! Helps if I actually build this, doesn't it? It costs us another 5,000. Of course, we haven't actually put in the high tension cables as well, which is a little bit. Oops. Too many things to think about, too many things to be. And what we're going to do is we're going to come down with the whole 18 odd K here. Okay, I'm going to fund you with dollars. We're certainly going through. We've actually got power to here, so that should supply all the power to this area. And we've got power to here. Just going to pause. Now what we need to do now is get the power into this area here. But we also need to be able to extend the power down into this area for the tourism. So we can't really go underground, because the way the underground connections go for low powered is you actually have to have a terminal on this end. Now if you use the mod with the high tension cables, you can actually run down and come above ground again. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to need to look at another option. Actually, what is this? I mean, that's just a distribution link here, but this is the one that picks up the main power. I think what we'll do is, so I think maybe this will work better. If we put in, I mean, we could put it that way, but then that's facing the wrong direction. I mean, we could be a bit sneaky and put it over here. No, I think this is a bit of a dead zone anyway, because we're not going to want to put anything to do with the town in this area. So if we put that there, what I can do then is we can come around here. Sorry, I'm spinning the map a little bit. What I'm going to do is push this down here. We can run. Did that connect? That's horrible. I think it'd be easier to come up this way, about here, and then I don't want to close off that area, so we're coming like that. Fund that with dollars because we have to. We're gonna have to fund this with dollars, and then that will do is give us the power takeoff to run the power down into our tourist area here. And then what I need to do now is put in, I think, can we go modded? Say 150, 300. 300 might be a bit far, but if I put it in this area, we might just be able to sneak it out. So if I put it, problem with these is that you've got to be pointing at where you want things to go. If I put the power in here, I'm gonna make this junction here a bit clumsy. Maybe if I can just snick this round like that, and then come back to, whoops. I always seem to think the power's in construction, not. And one thing you've got to do is you've got to be able to see this on your screen to see the opposite end. That's why you can't actually zoom in. I mean, this is technically light industrial, but I'm just going to put that there, connect you up there, connect you up there. More funding from dollars. I'm just going to let this build here. And that should give us 3 connections here. I mean, I've never really checked to see whether there's actually a mod that allows you to have multiple distributions from here. We got this connected, this connected. We got this connected here. Just going to pause again. And I think this is where I'm going to stop because I'm way over time on this video. I've now laid in the main construction, as probably the just polite way of saying this. So we've now got our small town set up in the center here. We've got our distribution area set up here with the heating, and it's nice and close to where we can import the coal from. I mean, there is a coal mine up here we can do something with, and of course we got a nice gravel supply over here which we could possibly integrate into this area here. What I might do is take a look at that off camera, but the only downside is we'd have to put another small aggregate store in here, and I just don't really know whether that's going to be worth the effort. What we'll do in the next part is we will build and populate our residents and finally kick our economy off, and hopefully it will all go very well. But until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.